I often have the opportunity to speak with students, world leaders, and some of the most brilliant engineers on the planet. Usually people expect me to give them a roadmap to success that involves comfort or perhaps a secret formula for avoiding the hardships of the journey. But I always tell them something that catches them off guard. I tell them, I wish you great doses of pain and suffering. It sounds counterintuitive, especially coming from someone whose life's work is to make things faster, more efficient, and more seamless. But the truth is, character isn't built on the sunny days. Character is built when everything is going wrong, when you are staring at the possibility of total failure, and you have to decide what you truly stand for. For me, and for everyone at NVIDIA, that pain has been our greatest teacher. It is the fuel that drives us to do things that other people think are impossible, or worse, things other people think are simply too hard to bother with. The reason I start here today is because we are at a moment in history where everything we thought we knew about technology, about work, and about the very fabric of our economy is being rewritten. We are in the middle of a new industrial revolution. And just like the first one, it is going to require a fundamental shift in how we think. If you are looking at the RTX 5090 or any piece of hardware we create as just a faster version of what came before, you are missing the point entirely. You are looking at the tool, but you aren't seeing the transformation of the craft. When I say don't buy the RTX 5090 yet, what I am really saying is don't buy into the old way of thinking. Don't invest in a piece of silicon until you understand the soul of the machine and the era we are entering. We are moving from a world of general purpose computing to a world of accelerated computing and generative AI. This isn't a gradual transition, this is a cliff, and we have already jumped off it. To understand where we are going, we have to go back to first principles. For 60 years, the industry lived by the grace of Moore's law. We expected that every couple of years, transistors would get smaller, CPUs would get faster, and software would just magically run better without us having to change a single line of code. That era is over. The physics simply don't work anymore. We can't keep shrinking things and expecting the same returns in performance per watt. If we had stayed on that path, the cost of computing would have eventually bankrupted the world's energy grids. We realized this nearly 30 years ago. We saw that the only way forward was to rethink the entire stack, from the chip to the software to the algorithms to the way the data flows. We chose the hard path. We chose accelerated computing. I remember when we were building the Rive 128, this was back in the mid-90s. NVIDIA was a tiny company. We had already failed once with our first chip, the NV1. It was a technical marvel, but a commercial disaster because we tried to do something the industry wasn't ready for. We were down to our last few dollars. We were about 30 days away from bankruptcy. I had to go to our employees and tell them that we had to do the impossible. We had to build a chip that was better than everything else on the market, and we had to do it in record time, and it had to work the first time. We didn't have the luxury of a second chance. That pressure, that pain, forced us to be humble. It forced us to strip away everything that didn't matter and focus on the first principles of what a graphics processor should be. Even then, we were lucky. I had to call the CEO of Sega, a company that had invested in us, and tell him that our technology was wrong for their next console. I had to ask him for the money they owed us anyway, even though we weren't going to deliver what they asked for just so we could survive to build something else. That took humility. It took a willingness to admit we were wrong so that we could eventually be right. He gave us that money. He saved us. And because of that, we were able to build the Rive 128, which became a massive success and gave us the foundation to become what we are today. NVIDIA is a company that has been 30 days from bankruptcy for 30 years. That is the mindset I want you to have. I want you to feel the urgency. Run, don't walk. If you aren't running toward the future, someone else is, and they are going to get there first. This brings me to the current state of the world. For the last decade, we've been telling everyone that the GPU isn't just for games. It's a parallel processing engine. It's a way to simulate reality. We spent billions of dollars and decades of research building CUDA, a platform that almost no one understood at the time. People asked me, Jensen, why are you spending so much money on this? No one is using it. But we knew that one day the world would need a level of computation that the CPU could never provide. We knew that to solve the world's most complex problems, climate change, drug discovery, autonomous machines, we would need to go beyond the traditional limits of computing. Today, we see the result. Generative AI is the iPhone moment of computing. It has democratized the most powerful technology in human history. Now anyone can talk to a computer as if it's a person. But to make that possible, we had to reinvent everything. We had to build the H100s, the Blackwells, and yes, the architectures that power the RTX 50 series. But here is my warning. If you are waiting for a new GPU just to get a few more frames per second in a video game, you are thinking too small. The RTX 5090 is not a graphics card. It is a portal into a world where your computer is no longer a tool, but a collaborator. It is a machine designed for the era of physical AI, where the digital and the physical worlds merge. We are building the Omniverse, a place where we can simulate everything before we build it in the real world. Imagine a factory that is a digital twin of itself, where every robot is trained in simulation millions of times before it ever touches a physical floor. Imagine a world where every car is an autonomous robot, and every robot is a generative AI agent. That requires a level of compute that is staggering. When you look at the 5090, you have to realize it is part of a larger ecosystem. It is designed to run the most complex local models, to interface with the largest data centers, and to give you the power to create things that were literally impossible 5 years ago. I've always believed that the work of your life should be to build things that didn't exist before. If it's easy, someone else is already doing it. At NVIDIA, we look for the impossible problems. We look for the things that are so hard that no one else wants to touch them. That's why our company structure is so flat. I don't want a hierarchy where information takes weeks to reach me. I want to know what's happening at the speed of light. I want to hear from the engineers who are struggling with the physics of a new transistor. I want us to be a company of learners, not a company of experts. Experts are people who know what happened yesterday. Learners are people who are going to define tomorrow. This is why I say, don't buy it yet. I want you to wait until you are ready to use it for something meaningful. I want you to wait until you have a vision for what you are going to create with that power. Are you going to use it to build a new world in the Omniverse? Are you going to use it to train a personal AI agent that can help you solve problems in your community? Are you going to use it to push the boundaries of science? If you are just buying it for the status or for a marginal improvement in an old workflow, you aren't ready for it. The 5090 is a beast of a machine, but a beast is only as useful as the person who knows how to guide it. We are entering a period where the cost of compute is effectively dropping to zero in terms of what it can achieve, while the value of what it produces is reaching infinity. Think about that. When intelligence becomes a commodity, the only thing that matters is what you do with it. We are moving from a world where we write software to a world where we train software. We are moving from retrieval of information to generation of intelligence. In the old world, you asked a computer for a file. In the new world, you ask a computer for an answer or a solution or a creation. This transition is why we've worked so hard on things like DLSS and ray reconstruction. We realized that we couldn't just throw more hardware at the problem. We had to use AI to make the hardware smarter. We are using AI to create pixels, to predict motion, to simulate light. We are using intelligence to save energy. This is the first principle of the modern age. Use intelligence to overcome the limits of physics. When we designed the architecture for this next generation, we didn't just look at the benchmarks. We looked at the future of human-computer interaction. We looked at how large language models are going to live on your desktop. We looked at how you are going to use your PC to control a fleet of drones or to design a new molecule. The 5090 is built for that. It is built for the person who wants to be at the forefront of the AI revolution. But there is a weight that comes with this power. I often think about the responsibility we have. When you are building the foundation for the future of intelligence, you have to be rigorous. You have to be resilient. You have to be willing to fail in public so that you can succeed in private. I've had many moments where I was the only person in the room who believed in a certain direction. People thought I was crazy to bet the whole company on AI long before AI was a buzzword. But you have to have the courage to follow the logic of first principles, even when it leads you away from the crowd. If the logic tells you that computing must be accelerated, then you accelerate it. If the logic tells you that software will soon be written by machines, then you build the machines to write the software. You don't wait for permission. You don't wait for the market to tell you it's okay. You run. You run as fast as you can toward the goal, and you don't look back. That is how we built NVIDIA, and that is how we are building the future. The RTX 5090 represents the pinnacle of that philosophy. It is the most advanced piece of consumer technology ever created, but its true power isn't in its specs. Its true power is in what it enables you to do. It enables you to be a creator in an age of machines. It enables you to be an explorer in a digital frontier that is expanding faster than we can map it. Mapping it requires a new kind of navigation, a new kind of map maker. We are no longer just looking at pixels on a screen. We are looking at the birth of a new species of intelligence. And that is why my warning is so honest. Do not buy this technology if you are not prepared for the responsibility of what it means to hold the power of an AI factory in your hands. For 30 years, we have been working toward this specific moment. Everything from the first days at Denny's to the dark days when we were nearly bankrupt was leading to the realization that the computer is no longer just a tool for calculation. It is now a generator of ideas. When I think about the future, I don't see it as a distant horizon. I see it as something we are constructing brick by brick, line of code by line of code right now. The transition from general purpose computing to accelerated computing is not just a technical shift, it's an economic one. We are seeing the rise of the AI factory. In the previous industrial revolution, the raw material was water and steam, and the output was power. In this revolution, the raw material is data, the furnace is the GPU, and the output is intelligence. This intelligence will be the most valuable commodity in the history of the world. It will be integrated into everything we touch, your house, your car, your tools. They will all be alive with the ability to perceive, to reason, and to act. This brings me back to why we do what we do at NVIDIA. People often ask me about my leadership style or why I insist on such a flat organization. It's because in a world that moves this fast, hierarchy is a bug, not a feature. I don't want to be the boss who gives orders from a mountaintop. I want to be in the trenches with the engineers. I want to be the one cleaning the tables if that's what needs to be done. My experience at Denny's wasn't just about a job. It was about the dignity of work and the importance of being all in on whatever you are doing. If you are going to build a new world, you cannot have a good enough attitude. You have to be obsessed with the first principles of the problem. For us, the first principle of this decade is physical AI. We've seen what AI can do in the digital realm, writing poems, generating images, coding software. But the next frontier is the physical world. This is where the RTX 5090 and the architectures that follow it become truly transformative. We are building the brains for the robots of the future. Not just the robots in factories, but the robots that will walk among us, help us, and learn from us. To do that, we need to simulate the laws of physics with perfect accuracy. We need to create a digital world so real that when an AI learns to walk in simulation, it can step into the physical world and perform flawlessly. We call this the Omniverse, and it is the most ambitious project we have ever undertaken. When you use a 5090, you are tapping into that same research. You are using the same tensor cores and the same RT cores that are training the next generation of autonomous vehicles and surgical robots. This is why I say, wait. Wait until you understand that you are not buying a gaming card. You are buying a piece of the future's infrastructure. You are buying a developer kit for the new world. If you are ready to be a part of that, if you are ready to stay up all night trying to solve a problem that no one else even knows exists, then you are our people. Then, and only then, does the 5090 make sense for you. We are living through the most exciting time in the history of technology. The rate of progress is not just linear, it's exponential. Every year, we are finding ways to make our chips 10 times more efficient for AI. If you multiply that over a decade, you realize that we are talking about a million-fold increase in capability. This is the death of the status quo. If you are a company and you are still relying on traditional CPUs for your heavy lifting, you are already obsolete. You just don't know it yet. You are spending too much on power, you are taking too much time, and you are being out-innovated by people who have embraced the accelerated path. I want to talk about resilience again, because I see so many people today who are afraid of making mistakes. They want a guaranteed path to success. But let me tell you, there is no such thing. Every great thing NVIDIA has ever done was born out of a mistake or a failure that we had to learn from. When we moved to CUDA, the market hated it. Our stock price plummeted. People said I was wasting the company's future on a niche hobby. But we stayed the course because the first principles told us we were right. We were willing to suffer through the lean years because we had a vision that was bigger than the quarterly earnings report. You must have that same resilience. Whether you are a student starting your career or an entrepreneur building the next big thing, you must welcome the struggle. You must desire the pain because that is where the growth is. When the world tells you that you are wrong, but your logic tells you that you are right, You must have the character to stand your ground. This is how you build things that last. This is how you build things that change the world. The RTX 5090 is a symbol of that resilience. It is the result of thousands of engineers who refused to accept the limits of what was possible. It is the result of a company that is willing to reinvent itself every single day. We don't look at our past success as a pillow to rest on. We look at it as a foundation to build the next impossible thing. We are constantly cannibalizing our own products because we know that if we don't, someone else will. This is the run, don't walk mentality. In this industry, you are either the hunter or the prey. There is no middle ground. So as you look toward the future, ask yourself, what are you running toward? Are you running toward a life of comfort, or are you running toward a life of impact? Are you waiting for the future to happen to you, or are you going out there and building it? The tools are now in your hands. The barriers to entry have been smashed. A kid in a garage with a high-end GPU now has more computing power than a national laboratory had 20 years ago. There are no more excuses. The only limit is your imagination and your willingness to work. We are entering the age of the sovereign AI, where every nation, every company, and eventually every individual will want to own their own intelligence. They won't want to outsource their knowledge to a few giant clouds. They will want to generate it locally. This is the ultimate democratization of power, and we are the ones providing the engines for that movement. We are the ones making sure that the future is decentralized, powerful, and accessible to anyone with the drive to pursue it. This is my honest warning because the power we are releasing is profound. It will change how we think about what it means to be human. When a machine can create art, write code, and solve equations better than we can, we have to find a new definition for our own value. I believe that value lies in our vision, our ethics, and our ability to ask the right questions. The AI will give you the answers, but you must provide the purpose. The RTX 50 series is the most powerful tool ever placed in the hands of the individual, but a tool is only as good as the hand that wields it. Use it to build something that makes the world better. Use it to solve a problem that has been plaguing your community. Use it to explore the mysteries of the universe. Don't just use it to consume, use it to create. As we close this keynote, I want you to remember that the future isn't something that is going to happen. The future is a choice. Every day, we choose what kind of world we want to live in by the things we build and the technologies we support. At NVIDIA, we have chosen a world of accelerated intelligence, of physical AI, and of boundless creativity. We have chosen to run toward the hardest problems because that is where the most meaning is found. I want to thank you all for being part of this journey with us. Whether you've been with us since the Riva 128 or you're just joining us today, you are part of a community of dreamers and doers who are literally rewriting the rules of reality. It has been the honor of my life to lead this company and to work alongside some of the most brilliant minds in the world. But we are just getting started. The next decade is going to make the last 30 years look like a warm-up. Before I go, I want to make sure we keep this conversation going. If you found this vision compelling, please subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. It helps us reach more people who want to be part of this revolution. And more importantly, if you have questions about the RTX 5090, about AI, or about the future we are building, please leave them in the comments below. I promise you, I will be looking through them and I will respond to your questions quickly. I want to hear what you are planning to build. I want to know how you are going to use this power to change the world. The logical conclusion of everything we have discussed today is irrefutable. The era of static, slow, and general computing is over. The era of the AI-driven, accelerated, and generative world is here. You can either be a spectator or you can be an architect. The choice is yours. But whatever you do, do it with urgency. Don't wait for the perfect moment. Don't wait for things to get easier. The pain is part of the process, and the struggle is where the character is forged. Our mission is to build the engines that power the human imagination. Your mission is to take those engines and go somewhere no one has ever gone before. The road ahead is challenging, it is uncertain, and it will require everything you have. But it is the only road worth taking. Run, don't walk. I'll see you in the future.